Just imagine a kid aggressively Fortnite dancing in self-defense. I work at a haunted house. One kid I scared started Fortnite dancing in self-defense. Another one called me Zaddy. The funniest thing that's ever happened to me as a parent is once my 2-year-old was having a full-on meltdown and accidentally kicked an electronic toy dinosaur, and it went, "Can you feed me?" And my son, through massive sobs, goes, "No, I can't right now, dinosaur," and continued screamings. Today my daughter got to know that I will turn 36 this year and that I was born in 1900s. She was shocked after hearing this and is asking me if I've seen a real dinosaur. When you're playing hide and seek with your son and you realize he probably won't need that college savings account after all. Major causal inference issues in our house at the moment. 2-year-old thinks coats make the air colder, so keeps putting hers on when she's too heat. When I was 7, I had a YouTube channel with 5 subscribers and I wanted to do a fan meet and greet, so I posted a video of my house address. My nephew's response to "How do you bake a Thanksgiving turkey?" Age 5. Turkeys come from Alaska. You need to get in a car and drive to it to catch it with a net. You need to drag the net and get to your house. You need to stuff it with meat. Then, you put it in the oven for 6 minutes at 5 degrees. You use a timer, and when it's done, you take the turkey out. You need to put napkins on the side of a plate. You use the napkins to put it on your plate. You eat it with grapes. You will like turkey. It tastes like meat with salt on it. When I was like 2 years old, there was a lake near my kindergarten. So ducks would come, and every morning a lady who worked there would give us bread and would take us to feed them to the ducks. Every kid would throw them to the ducks, but I'd just stand there and eat the bread. Not all heroes wear capes. IKEA scissors order page. Found this drawing I did in 2nd grade. This was 2010. I remember when my little brother was in 2nd grade or so, a little girl from his class accidentally brought a pepper spray. Her older sister borrowed her bag. They, my brother and the class, knows what a pepper spray is, and yet 3 students ends up at the clinic cause their eyes hurt from pepper spray. Adventures with a 3 years old. Me, do you want a peanut butter sandwich? 3 years old, no thank you. I want a peanut butter and jelly but no jelly. Kid wanted a pickaxe shaped cookie from Minecraft. My 12 years old asked me yesterday, what is the dog's name in Scooby-Doo? Little dude got himself stuck. Wasn't me, honest. My 4-year-old boy were full on screaming and crying in the middle of a nasal endoscopy and had to be held down by the doctor and me. My wife was trying to calm him down and asked if he wanted to buy a toy after this. I remembered thinking he wouldn't answer her with all this screaming. To my surprise, he screamed yes and immediately went back to crying. Me holding back laughter asked, "How many?" 4-year-old, 2000. Another hard example of why physics matters. Parents want me to be healthy as a kid, so they have gummy vitamins and lots of supplement. Ask my mom one day if I can have one of her women's multivitamins. These are for girls and on. You can't take them, or else you grow babs or something. I wake up in the middle night and eat all the remaining gummies. Instead of becoming a girl, I end up in the hospital and almost ducking die. Mexico. I want to be the type of person who has no regard for my personal safety. Back when I was a kid, I went with my mother to a restaurant and got a dish with spice in it, thinking it wouldn't be so bad. When I took the first bite, I realized it was spicier than I anticipated, and the pain made me start panicking. My mother asked me what was wrong, but in the moment I couldn't think of the word spice, so in a panic I told her my food was too high-pitched. Learning buddies. My name is Big Buddy. I have yes hair. I have yes eyes. I'm wearing a shirt and sweatpants. My favorite thing to do is horseback riding. My name is Little Buddy. I have yes hair. I have yes eyes. I'm wearing a shirt and pants. My favorite thing to do is stretching. By the way, the song was I Wanna Rock. My little brother cried over this song once. The fact that you're screaming I wanna rock, he got so scared, and he cried I don't have a rock. I'm sorry. The memory cracks me up lol. When I was about 7, I tried to make a zip line. I saw it in a movie and thought it was the coolest thing. So with my physics degree, and after downing a juice box, I set my elaborate plan in motion. I grabbed some very dry old yellow rope and tied it around a post on the old playground set we used to have, about 8 feet up. Then extended the rope about 50 feet to an old wooden 4x4 post and tied a knot on that end, the same way you would tie a shoe. My master plan was in motion, and I tried to pull it tight too, for some tension. I grabbed a yellow plastic wiffle ball bat, the really skinny kind, the ones that were thin, and weighed about 6 ounces, and climbed to the top of the playground. I put the bat over the rope, grabbed both ends of the bat, and flew off expecting some awesome results. Instantly, I bent the bat completely in half. The rope burned my wrist and then snapped. I fell onto the grass and sent my knees, hurt my elbow, and laid there for about 5 minutes wondering what went wrong. Yep, needless to say I tried it again another time with another thicker bat, same rope. Did not achieve zipline capabilities, ever. The end. When I was child, I thought this what the human soul looked like. Me, don't slam doors. 4-year-old, don't tell me. Me, who should I tell? 4, the door. Okay, so in high school, the teacher limited my bathroom use, and I really had to go. There was a room connected to the classroom that no one was in, so I went in, rolled down my pants, and peed in the trash can. My ace wasn't exposed because my dress covered it. The teachers found out, and I got a lecture about how I was too old for that. I just heard this gem of a knock knock joke from my 4-year-old. Him, knock knock. Me, who's there? Him, Captain Crunch. Me, Captain Crunch who? Him, Tornado. At least this one tried to eat fruits. Decorative fruits. When I was around 8, I was in love with the film Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, specifically the character Violet. In the movie, Violet is seen putting chewing gum behind her ear to save it for later. Well, little me was just fascinated by this, so I decided to copy her. Only problem is that I had long, thick curly hair. To absolutely no one's surprise, the gum got well and truly stuck in my hair. It was bad. My mum tried in vain to get it out but to no avail. I lost my 90% of my beautiful hair that day and sported a bob for the rest of the year. 4-year-old. Does that mean no vehicles that start with a P? So no police cars? No peep cars? Proceeds to chuckle to himself. Yes ambulance. Yes fire trucks. These Lego wheels my 4-year-old brother bit. Just remembered the time when I was about 9. I was obsessed with Dennis Daly, and I really wanted an I Love Cats shirt, but I didn't want it at the same time. Why was this? Because I thought Dennis himself would hand deliver it to my house and I didn't want to bother him. A page in my 10-year-old brother's exercise book. This will always be the easiest test I've ever marked, year 7. When I was 5, I thought it would be fun to jump off my bed thinking I can swing from my ceiling like Spider-Man. Turns out I'm not Spider-Man, and I hurt my back. In library, talking about Thanksgiving. Librarian is asking the kids what they eat, trying to lead them towards Thanksgiving food, and it's like pulling teeth. Asking what they pour on mashed potatoes. One kid says rocks. Librarian is like, I'm thinking of something that starts with GR and it's brown. And another kid raises her hand, and I'm like, okay, this girl's on top of everything. She's got this. And she goes gorilla sauce. Toddler, I'm going to dye this Lego man after dinner. Me, you don't die someone, you kill them. Toddler, okay, I'm going to kill this Lego guy. Me, sounds good. 5 minutes later. Toddler, why does auntie have red hair? Me, she dyed it. Toddler, shocked Pikachu, if you kill someone, their hair turns red. S. My young kid self just had to do a hiding stuff in a book hack after watching 5-minute crafts. She got stuck. One time, I was at a friend's house, and outside were some ferrets in a cage. His mother told me not to stick my lingers in the cage or they'll bite. Anyway, that's the story of how I got a scar on my linger. He did not like the cheese on his noodles, and is now eating them by hand. Told her I called the police, cause she was being bad. When I was a kid I didn't draw eyebrows on girls. In all my drawings dating back to the 1st/2nd grade, all the girls I draw didn't have eyebrows. I remember thinking they made them too masculine. Sometimes I didn't even draw their noses for the same reason. I think I anticipated 2022 old-fashioned lol. When I was younger my family rented a house in Arizona for a week to get away from the cold Canadian Februaries, and I had to pee really bad when we got there, so I found the washroom and took a leak when I noticed there was no soap, so I washed my hands with Vaseline instead. When I was a kid I wanted to become a carpenter. When I was a kid I really wanted to become a carpenter, so I stole a hammer and a nail and hammered it to the wall, which ruined the wall. I can still see the hole from the nail. Anyways, my mom heard some noises and ran up and saw I was standing on the bookshelf, and she panicked and stopped me. Then she told me that the bookshelf could have fallen and hit me. I replied, don't worry, I'm really strong. When I was a kid I ate grass. With kid I mean like 4 or 5. I'm not sure why I did it, but I was just curious. What does it taste like? Is it juicy? Is it sweet? So, for science, one fateful day I decided to get on all fours on our lawn and take a bite. When I was a kid I spared deformed gummy bears. I thought that the other gummy bears would bully them inside the package, so I would always eat them last. Not sure how my kid brain thought it was okay to eat gummy bears if they're sentient. I was a weird kid. When I was a kid, I thought all moms and dads had my parents' first names. My parents were named Jack and Mary. I called my parents mom and dad. My friends called their parents mom and dad. Therefore, the logical conclusion was that all my friends' parents were named Jack and Mary. My friends all had different names, but they were kids. I just assumed that when you had a child, you were forced to change your name to Jack or Mary. Uncle Mitch and Aunt Terry were a rather problematic exception to this theory. When your 8-year-old decides you shouldn't have a laptop, after telling him he's too young to have a laptop. 100% wouldn't give me the trowel back. He was helping. My grandson thought it would be a good idea to fill up his toy with lactose-free milk. Such an ace-hole. Why did I have kids? Dad, I saw them do this at the gas station. Proud parent of a great kid that is sometimes an ace-hole, and that's okay. Have a kid, they said, when running his bath, and he decides to take a sneaky dump somewhere then hide downstairs, but you also taught him to go down the stairs on his burn. Duck my life. We told our son that his ears turned red when he lied. For years he would try to cover his ears if he was lying. It was usually pretty obvious but still nice. I do this with my 5-year-old. There are a couple of green dishes my son wouldn't eat, so my wife and I started pretending it would make him super strong. As soon as the wife announces a dinner menu, I start begging her not to feed it to him as it will make him stronger than me and he will hit me. Result: kid eats the meal happily and makes me fly with his kicks and punches after every second bite. When I was little, my dad would tell us bedtime stories from when he was little. Sometimes the stories were real tales from his childhood, but other times they were about when he was really little. Little enough to use rolly pollers as a ball and hide under leaves when it rained. He told us a story of how he flew through a rainbow and got all the colors on his brand new shirt and his mom was never able to clean them all out. Stuff like that. Janitorial union had a protest and didn't clean up after folks. Weird kid seized the opportunity to shut in the sink. I was that weird kid in class. I never answered to my name or said my name. I don't say my name very often. I have a speech impediment and choose not to. I would simply say yup when teachers did roll call. When I was a child of maybe 3 or 4, my dad was driving me somewhere. We got cut off and my dad flipped them off and called them a nuthead. Fast forward a few days and my mother tells me to pick up a mess. I wasn't having any of that, so I flipped her off and called her a nuthead. Dad got in trouble. Rich neighbor kid was always showing off. He had a sweet Knight Rider big wheel that he would never let me ride. I finally got my own big wheel and the moment he saw it, he came running and went to get on my big wheel without asking. The sheer entitlement enraged me, so I shoved him into some cacti that were right by my big wheel. I then took a ride on his big wheel, doing laps while his mom proceeded to pull his pants down to pull out needles while he sobbed. She knew he was a brat. When I was a kid, I took a bunch of ketchup packs to school, folded them in half, and stuck them under the knobs of all the toilets so that when you sat on them, they would explode all over the back of your legs. I got caught, but even the principal was laughing his ace off when I was walked into his office. I got suspended for a week, but it was worth it. When I was a kid in the 80s, they used to sell real metal toy handcuffs that didn't have that safety latch. You actually needed the key. When I was 5, I handcuffed a lady to a park bench and ran away. She was screaming at me, and I had to get my mom. I had lost the key, so it was a total shit show. Me and my entire class bullied a girl when we were like 11. As far as I know, it never got physical or anything. We all just kind of agreed that she was stupid and to not play, hang out, or talk with her, make fun of her, etc. Real ducked up shut. I just didn't think about it at all. Everyone did it. It was just how it was. Only years later did I realize, man, we were straight up monsters. Teacher didn't do anything either as far as I remember. When I was about 4, I got a coin stuck in a friend's toy piggy bank. I tried to fix it and failed. So I put it away and told my mom I wanted to go home because I was tired. Never told anyone what I'd done. Not necessarily evil, but I felt guilty about it for 25 years because I don't know if it was ever fixed or if my friend's parents thought she did it. In kindergarten, the bathroom was in the classroom and my friend took a pass while the teacher was talking, and I opened the door on him and he was standing there bare ace pants around the ankles while the class watched for a long ace time before the teacher noticed. I also kicked a whole lunch line over playing Power Rangers at the end of the line. Went down like dominoes. I used to think that when a guy got a woman pregnant, that one of his tentacles would be transferred to the her, and that became the baby. Never understood how people could have more than 2 kids. My childhood bedroom had the door to the attic in my closet. Scary shut when you're 5. So I would position my all stuffed animals in a sort of formation to protect me while I slept. Would even rotate them so everyone got a break from being on the front lines. It worked, though. They never failed me once as I never got. I thanked them every night for doing so. As a kid, I believed that there was some other kid of same face and height like me, and when he will met me, then he will give me a lot of wealth. I grew up in a suburb about 15 minutes from Cleveland. Whenever a new kid would transfer to our school and they were from Cleveland, it was automatically assumed they were a bad ace not to be messed with because they came from the city. Y'all are going to make fun of me, but you know how drivers thank each other with a hand movement when, for example, one driver lets the other pass? I was convinced my dad was friends with all those people and they were just saying hi to each other. I was blown away by how many people he knew, and even bragged to my friends about how my dad was famous and had so many friends everywhere. One day I asked him how he knew all those people and my whole world fell apart. He was just being polite. My mom warned me against the heat plates on the kitchen stove. When she turned around I touched it anyway, and of course burnt myself. I thought my fingerprint was the circular pattern from the stove permanently burnt in on my dinger, and was afraid to tell my mom. Since kids are stupid, I did of course not notice that the 9 other dingers that didn't touch the plate also had the same pattern. And that if I accidentally swallowed a seed from a fruit, like apple, orange, watermelon etc., a tree would grow in my stomach. I was actually terrified. I was in a minor car accident, nobody hurt but slight damage to the car, with my family. They spoke to the other driver and then said that they had to swap phone numbers. For ages I thought this meant that if you were in a car accident you had to literally swap phone numbers, as in our number would belong to the other person and we would use their phone number instead. Oh boy, when I was a kid I never understood how people died from choking, because I thought our neck was as big on the inside as it is on the outside. When I was like 7 or 8 my brother had told me that when we go to sleep all our organs like turn off or something like that. I believed that for a lot longer than I should have. I didn't know what a condo looked like, and in grade 6 on a field trip everyone was talking about how they saw one on the side of the road, but the only thing I saw was what looked sort of like a microchip, so for a while I thought condos were little chips that a person somehow attached to their pants. I remember hearing about a Queen Elizabeth who was alive like 200 years ago, but then I heard about a Queen Elizabeth that was the Queen of England right now. So I just thought it was the same queen, and she was over 200 years old. Even today when I hear people mention Elizabeth I, I think of that lol.